Hello and welcome back to Charging Status, the EV Focus podcast brought to you from the interface. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jim Starling. How you doing, Jim?
Hello, Alex. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
We're actually in the same room for once. Let's see if we can do this without beating the living daylights out of each other. We only do this remotely usually because of Alex's fiery temper. So
Brilliant. Yeah, we're quite a nice hotel room in Gloucestershire, I think we are. Middle of nowhere.
Tetbury we are.
Yeah.
There you go, for those of you that know the country. We're actually here for a launch tomorrow, aren't we, of the KGM
Actyon?
Actyon.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is it a smaller Torres? Or
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll find out all about that tomorrow. We're hoping it's a bit better than the Torres because neither of us were massive fans of it.
Not really.
But yeah, nice place, really nice place. I must admit, I get invited to the odd launch, but I don't often get put in a hotel. In fact, this is the first one, I think.
I think first time for me as well.
Which is great because I have to travel somewhere that's too far away to do it in a day, and I have to pay for a hotel myself, and then it's a video that actually you end up losing about 50 quid on or something. So thanks, KGM.
Yeah, pretty good.
So, I know we spent yesterday together, which we'll come on to in a bit, but what else have you been up to this week? This month, actually, what we've been driving.
Yeah, so we spoke about it yesterday, but I took the ORA 03 to Ireland.
Yeah.
And you said on the podcast last time that you'll really enjoy Ireland, and it was really, really lovely.
Yeah. You did the Republic and Northern Ireland, didn't you?
Yeah, I basically ended up driving from the bottom right-hand corner, so Rosslare, all the way up to like where Giant's Causeway is, in an EV, which was pain-free and very easy.
Temperature?
Oh, it snowed.
Yeah.
It's like -2.
Yeah.
Pretty much the whole time. And in driving from Belfast up to where we were staying for the week, it was supposed to be an hour, but it actually took 2 hours because we were going like 20 mile an hour the whole time because it was snowing a lot. But no, it's really nice. I don't know if you know, there's Caroline Kidd, so she's an Irish automotive journalist, and I interviewed her on the Correct Spotlight a few years ago now. But we met up with her in Dublin for hot chocolates and stuff. That was really nice.
Oh, cool.
She's really lovely, and everyone we encountered in our entire trip was so lovely.
Yeah.
What's quite hilarious is so we got the ferry back to Liverpool, and within 10 minutes of getting off the ferry, some youths in hoodies. Yep, threw a wet ball of tissue paper at the ORA.
Oh, really?
Within 10 minutes getting back in the UK, so that was the most loveliest welcome I've ever had.
In Liverpool, you say?
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
I know. So yeah.
I'm an Everton fan, by the way. So, don't hate me, folks. Look, I mean, I've spent a lot more time in Northern Ireland than I have in the south. But I've always had a great time in the south. But in Northern Ireland, I just think the people are like the nicest folks in the UK. I know lots of people, I used to go over there for work all the time, and people would say, "Ooh, you're going to Belfast," because they're thinking back to the Troubles.
Yep.
But it's just a brilliant place and just such nice people. And the only thing is you can't do anything quickly because you end up having a 20-minute conversation with everyone, but that's good.
Yeah, it was surprising, and I'm quite into my coffee, and they seem to take coffee quite seriously over there as well. So everywhere we went, you could just get a decent coffee, which was quite nice.
Do you watch that YouTube guy with the challenging glasses and hair?
I can't remember his name, actually. Yeah, I do watch them, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. James Hoffman.
Yeah. So I've seen 2 of those, and I find them deeply upsetting. Yeah.
No, it was really good. There's as I said, everyone we encountered was just so lovely, really friendly, and just it was really good. While I was over there, actually, I went on the EV Owners Lounge podcast from Mobula Ray EV.
Yeah.
So I did that remotely while I was over there, and that was quite good fun. We sort of broke down the, I think different categories of EVs, so like best sports car, best compact SUV and stuff. And that was quite good.
I listened to that. I thought you were good on that.
Oh, thanks.
You should try and be like that way on our podcast. We might get more listeners. You never know. I'm on that on Friday, actually.
Oh, sweet.
Well, I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm recording it on Friday.
So that was live streamed. So I think it's...
Oh, okay.
So you have to watch what you say because it is live.
Oh.
So, yeah.
That's not good for me. I'm not good with live.
No.
No.
And then, as you sort of alluded to earlier, we both went to Yeovil, which was quite a trek, yesterday for the Smith and Sniff podcast live.
Yeah.
At the Haynes Motor Museum, so that was good fun.
Yeah, not too far away from Yeovil, and we went around the museum afterwards, didn't we? Which was good.
Awesome.
We both liked Smith and Sniff podcast. I've always liked Johnny Smith. I've watched Fifth Gear. I think I probably watched every episode of Fifth Gear.
Wow.
And I loved him and Vicky and Plato and Tiff. I thought it was just a brilliant blend of characters, and it's great. Obviously, it's just so silly, and occasionally cars are spoken about, but it's absolutely brilliant. And if you haven't listened to it, Richard Porter on it as well was one of the lead producers, writers on Top Gear. And when you hear Richard speak and his cadence and everything, you can tell that he wrote a lot for Clarkson.
You can.
Yeah. And he's absolutely brilliant. And you will find in some of my car reviews, by the way, a little Easter egg, which for quite a long time, whenever I showed the infotainment system, it would always have the Smith and Sniff podcast on it. And I've never made reference to it on anything before now, I don't think. But I tend to put ours on there now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Although the MG I did the other day, I put Smith and Sniff on there.
I'll have to have words later. But yeah, what have you been up to?
To be honest, I've been so busy with sort of the catch up from coming back from LA and Christmas and all that kind of stuff, and I had so many things to get done in such a short period of time that I haven't really booked any cars in. So the last car I had booked in, I can't even remember what it was. Maybe the Audi A3.
Well, that was ages ago. Yeah.
I don't think I've had one since. I've got the MGHS this week, and on Thursday that's getting swapped for the Cyberster. So I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, January's not the best month to have.
No, not really.
A soft top, but beggars and choosers and all that.
What colour is it?
I don't know.
You don't know? Because yellow seems like the best one to me anyway.
Yeah.
Looks quite good, that one.
I'll tell you what, I quite like the red on that HS actually. I think that's. I'm not usually massively into red cars.
No.
But I quite like that.
Pretty good.
Folks, before we go any further, if you enjoy this, please give it a follow or a subscribe and leave us a review or a comment if it's a YouTube video. Anything like that really helps. Like, we've been doing this for quite a long time. Alex has been doing this much longer than I have. And we've recently moved on to a new YouTube channel, and not too many people have sort of come with it. So any bit of support you can give us is gratefully appreciated. We both do this for absolutely nothing, literally just for your enjoyment. So a little thumbs up, a subscription or a follow or a view is a great way to say thanks.
Lovely stuff. Before we get into some of the news that's happened since we last recorded, I just want to go over what cars we're looking forward to that are going to come out this year, specifically EVs, obviously. And I wrote an article on my website. It was on the 3rd of January, sorry. I highlighted some different vehicles that are coming soon, and I wrote down the Ford Puma Gen E. Specifically because it doesn't look that overly interesting, but it's going to be quite a good price for Ford. And they haven't got many good priced EVs at the moment.
No, and I think from memory, it looks like it's going to be quite a decent range and all fairly sensible.
Yeah.
Unlike some of the things they've released thus far.
Yeah. I also put down the Hyundai Insta, namely because you get a lot for your money.
Yeah.
Neither of us have driven one yet, so it might be awful to drive. We never know. But I've sat in one. I think you've sat in one as well.
Yeah.
And it's really, really well made. By the judging by what the spec sheets say, there's lots of stuff that comes as standard on it.
Yeah. It gets a heat pump as standard, doesn't it?
And vehicle to load.
Yeah. On a car of that size, it's pretty impressive. Because, now in the days of people having solar and batteries, if you can buy a battery that you can also drive.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I think a lot of people with EVs have Octopus Energy, and you get, if you're an Agile, you get the times of the day where you get free energy.
Yeah.
And if you've got somewhere to shove that free
energy.
Yeah. Be quite good. So I'm looking forward to that. And Hyundai have got a really, really good reputation at the moment for EVs. also, this is a van though, but it's the Kia PV5.
Yeah.
And if you've seen that, that's that one.
Yeah, so that I saw that at Paris, I think. Yeah, it was at Paris.
And the reason I find that interesting is because there's a lot of EV vans out right now which are a bit flawed.
Yeah.
They're either converted combustion platforms that are made into EVs, and they have various flaws. And I think the best one that's out there in terms of range is the ID Buzz, but that's limited in terms of payload. So I think Kia getting involved in vans is going to be a really, really good thing for the industry.
It looks amazing as well. Like it's a really bold design, and but not so bold that it's going to alienate people. I don't think. I think it just looks great, and the one at Paris was still a concept, so it had some weird and wonderful stuff going on with it. But you can see that they are coming in with a bit of a statement, and I think it could do very, very well.
I think so. Be quite good fun. That's launch date this year at some point, but no price is known. And then finally, the Volkswagen ID2, I sort of class this as the Polo EV because it looks like a Polo, is supposed to be launching in 2025. No idea on price, but hopefully under 25 grand, I'm hoping. But that's supposed to be really, really good. And I watched, I can't remember his last name, Thomas from Autogo Fuel.
Oh, yeah.
He did a really, really good walk around. Let's go. He did a really cool walk around, and that's got some quite clever packaging. There's a whole big bit in the boot which has got loads of storage. Underneath the back seat you can store your cables.
Can I ask, did he get his foldy ruler out?
He got his big ruler out, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. Even though the Volkswagen's current EV stuff's been a bit lacking, I think this is supposed to be the reset for them. And I quite like the Polo, and if there's anything like the Polo to drive, it should be quite nice.
Yeah.
Got two more things. The Xpeng G6. We mentioned this on a podcast recently. Xpeng have got quite a good reputation in Norway, and obviously it's a Chinese brand, and that's supposed to be launching in this calendar year. So
Norway, which has just gotten 100%
pretty much,
EV sales, or 99 point.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're so ahead of the game, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sorry, I digress.
No, it's all good. And this is, I think, as we mentioned last time, imported into the UK by the same people that bring us the Aura and Subaru and different things, and also Haval now.
Isuzu as well?
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be quite cool. And as I said, they've got quite a good reputation now. And then lastly, supposed to be this year, the Porsche Boxster and the Cayman are supposed to be going all electric, only like the Macan. And the sports car segment of the market is a bit lacking. We've only got the Cyberster and also the Maserati.
Yep.
Those two. So for Porsche to push their two quite core brands into the EV space is quite cool. So
haven't they sort of diluted it a bit now though? And I think they've come out now and said, oh, actually, we might not do a complete EV. We might have a hybrid and an EV. That
news was supposedly broke by Seen Through Glass a while back.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. And then Porsche denied it. And the only thing that's come out recently is Porsche insiders apparently have spoken to Autocar.
Oh, okay.
So there's nothing official yet.
Right.
I don't think they will, possibly. I'm not sure though. But yeah.
It's an odd one, isn't it? Because like you have to think those die-hard Porsche fans went bananas when they stopped having air-cooled engines in the 911. And then they seem to go bananas when anything changes too much. So I wonder if they will do it in a bit of a softer way, just for maybe until it would be due its midlife facelift, like 3 years or something, little 3-year cycle where you can still get a petrol.
Yep.
But they'll maybe just have one petrol.
Yeah.
And if they price that in a similar way to the EV, it might help people naturally move across rather than feeling they're being pushed across, maybe. And it might appease some of the diehards a bit, because Porsche do very well from their diehards, unlike some other brands. Their diehards actually buy cars.
Yeah. And I drove the Porsche Macan in November, the new electric one. I was so impressed with that.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. And I've seen actually quite a few recently around my way, so they're obviously shifting a few of them. So.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it, unless you've got anything on your mental list about what's coming out this year.
my mental list of what's coming out this year. Well, I don't, have we touched on it in a podcast? But obviously the facelifted Model Y.
Yeah, I've got that on the notes for. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we'll talk about it now. It seems to be that the stalk is going to remain, or at least it's going to remain in some markets. But we've now got obviously the little infotainment screen in the back that we've seen from the Model 3, a tiny bit more range from the very recent lineup change, if you like, where they brought in the long range versions.
Yep.
I think, what was it, about 8 miles more or 11 miles more?
I think
or
so,
something? Yeah. A tiny amount. But the styling's improved quite a bit, I think. So I literally, just before we pressed record, my wife sent me a picture of my Model Y, which she's put into a post in Tesco car park today. So that's great. So mine's been modified as well, but not in the same way. But the front end, I mean, I guess there's a tip of the hat to the Cybertrucks. It's a front light bar.
Yep.
And then on the back, you've got one single red light bar, which is actually a faux light bar.
Yep.
It's just one light and it's projecting, essentially. But I think it's a massive improvement to the way it looks, even though it is, fairly minor. And I don't know, I guess they'll price it exactly the same as the current one, because that's what they usually do.
Quite possibly.
And I think it's still pretty decent value
looks
compared
good.
to what else is in the market.
Yeah, it looks good. I for some reason I was up at 2 or 3 a.m. when the news broke in America, so I quickly hopped on my website and wrote an article quite quickly while I was in bed. But and found some different things about it. But what's quite interesting is a launch series version, which is going to have custom logos on the wireless phone charger, custom plates on the sills, and custom puddle lights, and also some badges all around the car, as well as some suede on the dashboard now, and some high-end carpet mats. So
okay.
I don't know how long that's going to be available for, but yeah, it's pretty good. And if it's anything like the new Model 3, it should be quite nice to drive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I mean, the old Model 3 I thought was good to drive. It was a bit firm, and it wasn't quite perfect. And I got in the new Model 3 and thought, this is really well sorted. It felt like they tightened the car up, made the suspension a bit more compliant, and really improved it a lot, I thought, in the way it drives. So if they do that with the Model Y, the worst things for me with the Model Y are the windscreen wipers are pants. Although they have improved with the latest software update.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they improved quite a lot with the last software update. But funnily enough, Richard Porter was saying yesterday he's got the Model 3, and he was saying how rubbish his wipers are.
He's got the Model Y.
Oh, he's got the Y?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I wonder if he hasn't done the software change.
If that's the holiday one, I noticed some people on Twitter said that the rollout was a bit delayed for them, and they couldn't...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I've had one or two since then as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe he hasn't noticed.
Yeah, maybe. Or it could just be different impressions of it. But I feel like the wipers have improved a lot since that update.
That's good.
But yeah, the turning circle's a bit rubbish, and obviously it's a heavy car and it does feel heavy. Mm-hmm. Where with the changes they made to the Model 3, it immediately felt lighter, I thought.
Yeah. Felt like a go-kart.
Yeah. So I'll be really interested to drive that.
Yeah, it'd be quite nice. And different things like that. The Renault 5 has now gone on sale in the UK. So that's prices from really quite a good price, 22,995.
Yeah.
And that gets you a 40 kilowatt hour battery pack and 193 miles of range. Mm-hmm. So as of right now, you can only order the Renault 5 if you've purchased the R5 R Pass, which is 150 quid. And you can get that up until the 28th of January. Mm-hmm. And that gets you a die-cast model of the car, but also like a priority build.
Did they take the 150 quid off the price, or?
Probably.
Oh.
I would have thought so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is two different versions. So one's 40, as I said, and one's also 52, which gives you quite a very usable 253 miles of range. And I noticed the specs on the Renault 5. I'm not 100% sure if they've changed, but I remember when it was launched, I don't think it came with a heat pump, but it looks like it does now.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
I couldn't quite remember if it was going to or not.
One thing that's not great in it is the rear legroom, and the rear passenger space generally is really not very good, which is a shame.
I haven't sat in one yet, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've got the Me, so
Yeah.
that's the same.
Yeah.
But it looks like a bigger car.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at it and then you open the back and try and get in and out, you think, oh,
Yeah.
it's a little bit disappointing. But I guess that's battery pack and everything else, because the back seat's raised a bit as well. But aside from that, I think it's an amazing piece of design inside and out.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
And so well priced.
Yeah, it's staggering how well priced that is. I know cars have got more expensive over the years, but yeah.
Yeah, if you thought the all electric Renault 5 is almost half the price, of a top spec plug-in hybrid Astra.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one is distinctly more desirable, I would say, and one will hold its value much better.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this as well, but there's a company called Canoo which made this almost pod style van.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah, they literally, I think yesterday they've gone bankrupt.
Oh, okay.
They were founded in 2017. I saw them in person at the CV show last year. It looked quite cool. Royal Mail apparently have one of them, but they just run out of money.
So Arrival's literally just up the road from here where we are now.
Yep.
And I'm gutted about that, because I thought that all looked amazing. But I don't know if you've seen on YouTube, but someone's bought one.
I have. I can't remember who it is. But
It's the guy that does those...
the minis.
He does like MX-5 conversion kits. He was on the Late Break show once, many moons ago.
Oh.
He's like a Bristolian chap, I think.
Yeah. I saw a video of his.
His videos are good, actually. I was watching a couple a week ago, but of course that was a week ago, so I can't remember his name or the channel name.
Yeah, there was a video of his. He made a Mr. Bean replica EV Mini.
Wow.
And then he took a fellow YouTuber on the roof dressed up as Mr. Bean around London. So that's why I heard of him. But yeah, I need to catch up on the videos he's done, because it'd be quite interesting of what you can... I wouldn't have thought they'd auction off the stuff, because it's all like pre-production.
Well, he bought 3 at auction, I think. And yeah, I think everything got auctioned.
It's weird, isn't it?
And I mean, like the manufacturing robots and stuff in there they had, and a huge amount of investment, and then it just went.
Yeah. Well, it just shows, like, I guess some companies will win and lose when it comes to the EV stuff.
I think as well, when you're trying to start from the ground up, it's difficult. Where probably an easier in is if you take something Chinese and rebadge it to get into the market, and then use that as your base, or at least buy in chassis or the running gear and everything else from someone else. But I think Arrival would, making most of it themselves.
It looked like it, didn't it?
And it's obviously going to be difficult at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're Tesla and you get that level of investment, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, lots of stuff happening there. And yeah, Canoo looked really interesting because they had lots of like off-road versions, and the cab was really far forward like a pod. And it
did look cool.
Oh well. One of our favourite cars is the GV60.
Yep.
And that's got a refresh now. It's on the cards for a long time. It got announced in Korea. It's a minor facelift. The front design has been cleaned up somewhat. The interior, the steering wheel's got changed.
Yeah.
The steering wheel was a bit odd in that car, and they've put the same steering wheel as the new GV70 in there, so it's a bit more sporty feeling.
Yeah.
And the screen's now like a full 27-inch OLED screen,
which is in that new GV70 as well, isn't it?
Yep.
That looks amazing, by the way. So they had that GV70 at LA, and it's ultra high res. Just looks really, really nice.
Yeah. And there's no specs being released yet, but I'd imagine it'll have the larger battery from the new Ioniq 5 and stuff.
Which is what, 84 kilowatt?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just going to be brilliant. Price is yet to be released, but yeah, it looks like they've changed a lot of little bits on the car, like styling and materials and things. So
I'd be happy to take one of those as a 2-year long termer or something.
Oh, yeah? That's very selfless of you. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And then I think shortly after we recorded last month, the BYD Atto 2 was announced.
Yeah.
Small little SUV sitting in between the Atto 3, which we drove a while back, and the Dolphin. And at the moment, it's going to have one battery, but there is going to be a larger version at some point. But 45 kilowatt hours and 194 miles of range. Again, prices to be confirmed. There's not much known about it yet.
Yeah. No, but it looks interesting. And again, BYD just keep putting models out, don't they?
Yep.
And obviously lots of them are already around in China and other markets. So they can literally just hit the ground running with these things. Yeah,
definitely. Only thing I noticed is on the Atto 3 and the Dolphin, the steering wheel it's the same on both cars. And I really like the design of that one.
Yeah.
Whereas on the Seal, the Seal's got it as well, but on the Seal U and this new Atto 2, they've gone for a different steering wheel. It looks a bit weird.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed, actually.
Yeah, it looks a bit strange in terms of its design. I'll put a picture on screen for the listeners, but there's a...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, it just doesn't look as nice as the Dolphin one. But yeah.
I'll tell you what, I still love a VW Audi Group steering wheel when they've got the little rolly dials on rather than haptics.
Oh, yeah.
Ones with haptics make my soul cry. But the other ones, I just think the controls are so well laid out, so intuitive, and everything's nice and tactile on a steering wheel.
Yep.
And then they come out with this shiny piano black haptics, and the world becomes a sadder place to be.
Yeah, so that's that should do quite well actually, because actually when I was in Ireland, in Dublin, anecdotally there was about 80% of the taxis there were EVs, which is really surprising.
Wow.
And a lot of them were Atto 3s. So
was that in Dublin or Belfast? Or?
Belfast was notably less EV centric.
Belfast used to be really heavy on Mercedes E-Class taxis and like Corolla Estates or Priuses, something like that. But there used to be a lot of Mercedes E-Classes from memory in Belfast.
Yeah, Northern Ireland and Ireland were very, very different in terms of EV adoption, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't see many EVs in Northern Ireland, to be honest. So, yeah.
I think that's interesting, actually. I don't know if it's the same in the south, but people in Northern Ireland, like certainly friends I've got over there and stuff, don't travel very far at all. And they'll be talking about the next town, which is, I don't know, 10 minutes away, like it's forever away. But the great thing over there is you still have, every town has its own sort of identity, and you have like 3 butchers on the high street and 3 greengrocers and 3 bakers.
Yep.
Which where I live, if you get one of any of those that's not Greg's or something, you've done incredibly well. Yeah. But lots of our towns and cities are just chains, aren't they?
That's so generic.
Nothing else. And every town becomes the same, and the shop's just a different shape, but you know where everything's going to be. And I think certainly in Northern Ireland there's far less of that. But they don't tend to travel very far, so you think they'd be well suited to EVs. Yeah.
Well, on the topic of that, the roads I noticed in the Republic of Ireland were a lot better than they are here. Their motorways are really, really
They're
nice.
pretty good in North as well, aren't they?
They were pretty good, but not quite as good as the Republic. What I noticed is it seemed to be a lot safer. So, for example, on an A road, if you've got just a road coming to join the A road you're on, they've got cat's eyes like a motorway. So even in dark light conditions, you can actually see.
Right, that's useful.
And the roads are incredibly smooth as well.
Yeah.
And also, their motorway services as well are just so good quality, and they don't stink a piss.
Oh, so, that's ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just really well laid out, lots of choice, lots of, I don't know, for example, like in the shop, there's bakery items left out in the open air, like, which all looks quite artisan. Just,
Yeah, more like a French one.
Yeah.
They're a bit more like that, where again, ours are just chain.
And smelly.
Yeah, very smelly. The price of cars is interesting, though. In the Republic, they're way more expensive than we pay, from what I understand. On my lease deals videos, I'm constantly getting messages from people in the Republic saying, where do you find this? How can I get these prices? And it's like, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
And some of the leasing companies are a bit funny with Northern Ireland as well. Like they don't Some of them won't lease to people in Northern Ireland, or some will, but they won't deliver to Northern Ireland. So you have to go and collect in Liverpool or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's considerably more expensive in the south.
Yeah, I think their VAT's higher.
Yeah.
I think it's slightly higher than ours. So.
We spoke about it briefly yesterday, but I haven't been for quite a long time. I was in Cork briefly on a cruise last year for a couple of hours, and it wasn't too bad. But last time I went to Dublin, it was so expensive for anything, like for us. And I always found Northern Ireland seemed cheap. When, like in Belfast, it seemed cheap to home, where Dublin felt madness compared to home.
Yeah, and travelling's quite enjoyable sometimes, especially. It's weird because Ireland's so close to our country.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to go for such a long time. And yeah, it's ever so slightly different, but different enough to be interesting.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Very last bit of news we got is, I don't know if you've seen this, but Neo have launched a sub-brand called Firefly.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, that's Honda-y, isn't it?
That's what a lot of the internet was saying.
Honda-y?
Yeah. So this was the end of December, and this was as part of the company's Neo Day. So I guess they've taken cues from Tesla and stuff and just launched their own media event. They announced the Neo, what's it called? Neo 9, I think. Big saloon thing, and they demoed the car driving along, and all that was moving was the wheels. So the ride's that good that they, if you know what I mean, the whole body of the car just stays still and the wheels just go up and down.
Wow.
And they put it up against a Maybach, and the Maybach was going all over the place. So,
jeez.
So they seem to be doing quite some good stuff. And
so is that hydraulic suspension, or
it must be?
Sorry, air suspension.
Yeah. I haven't looked into it. It must be.
Yeah.
ET9, I think it's called, or the.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And yeah, this new sub-brand is called Firefly, and as you said, it looks like a Honda E. There's barely anything is known about it yet, so no specs, no price. Sorry, the price is known, but the specs aren't known. It's going to launch in China this April, and then shortly afterwards, with no date confirmed, it will launch in Europe, and no information has been said about launching in the UK. But in China, it's the equivalent of £16,000.
Wow.
So
about 75 grand here then.
Yeah. And they've put a 92 litre frunk in it and 1,250 litres of boot space with the seats down, which is
decent.
But a lot more than the Aura, for example. The Aura's got like 850 with the seats down, so this is quite...
The frunk as well, like so many manufacturers don't bother even when there's room.
Yeah.
And it's, just somewhere to put the cables, it's great.
Yeah.
If nothing else, if you can get nothing else in but the cables.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be quite good. That'd be quite good, I think. So, and they've also got that new Envo brand, which we mentioned last time, I think. So
that suspension's interesting. I know a lot of cars with their adaptive suspension systems, the cameras basically sort of read the road in front, and they can adapt to what they're seeing. And I guess they've developed that on another level, because the car's going to be absolutely covered in cameras, I would have thought.
I would have thought so.
LiDAR and what have you.
So I'll put this video on the video version of the channel, but look at that. They put wine glasses on the bonnet. Look how smooth that is. I don't know how they've done that.
That's incredible. It's going to make speed bumps fairly pointless.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. And then they put it up against the, I don't know if this is in the same video. No, it's not. But as I said, they put it up against like a Maybach and it was all over the place.
So what have you got booked in for the coming month?
So sadly, the Aura 03 goes back on Wednesday. We're recording this on Monday. I quite enjoyed my time with that car.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. There's a few software issues. I think I mentioned to you yesterday that when I was in Ireland, the CarPlay stopped working. Yeah. And you came up with the theory that it might be some sort of region locking. I think that is the case. Because did 4 hours yesterday in it and an hour today, and it's been fine. So,
yeah. I mean, it would sort of make sense when it's some sort of licensing thing.
Yeah. No, it's been good. Just the software needs some work. There's a few niggles and things like, I think Aura are going to fix it, but if you connect your phone via wired or wireless CarPlay, for the first 3 or 4 minutes of getting directions, the car thinks you're in Cambridge or the North Atlantic Sea, depending on where you are. So
There's something brilliant about that, though.
Yeah.
I like when something doesn't work. I like it to be a really bizarre quirk and not just like blackness.
Yep.
You know, rather than just an empty space. Give us something really stupid and annoying.
Yeah, so they are going to fix that. And then also, when I tested the first Aura Funky Cat, it worked on the V3 Tesla chargers with no problem, but this one doesn't.
Right.
You plug it in, and it's got like a death grip on the charger. Just you have to force release it
really?
with the pull cord in the bonnet.
Wow.
Just doesn't work. But the V4s, they work. So
Okay.
yeah, really weird. But no, I've been. The only thing with that car is it needs a heat pump because it lost a little bit of range when it's got colder. I think the max I've seen is 225, and then the worst I've seen is 170.
Yep.
But I don't know if you noticed it when you tested it as well, but the range it tells you is actually correct.
Yeah,
it's very realistic.
It was really good for that.
Yeah. Whenever I do a journey, I take a little mental note of the distance I'm doing on the sat nav, and it's within 1 or 2 miles. So
that was one of those cars where when it backed onto the drive, I remember thinking, "Oh no, like what." And really not looking forward to that week with it, and I was really sad when it left. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Have you tried pulling away with a reasonable amount of lock on at speed?
Yeah.
Does it?
But it does wheel spin at any steering angle.
Oh, but does it wheel spin at a degree like you've never ever known before, where it makes like a turbine sound and then you can smell burning rubber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the old version did it a lot more easily than this one.
Right, yeah. Because I remember when Nick was still there,
Yep.
he told me they were working on something to sort of iron out some of the torque a little bit.
It is better. Yeah, you have to. I think my brain's got used to what level of acceleration you should use. What's really irritating is if you do get a minuscule of wheel spin, it turns off e-pedal.
Oh right,
You then got to like one pedal driving. You then got to go back into the software to turn it back on.
Yeah. So it's all that sort of stuff's
I know.
quite easy to fix if someone is that way inclined, I guess. But,
yeah. But yeah, I'm going to miss it when it goes back. I think it's been quite enjoyable. And one thing I noted in my review is that most Chinese cars, in the past, they seem to get the driving aspect of the car quite wrong.
Yeah.
It's lacking. That isn't.
Yeah.
That apart from the wheel spin issue, that isn't. It feels very grown up down the road. It rides really nice. It's quite quiet and it feels good quality. So I'm going to be a bit sad when it goes back actually. So
does it still have the koi carp on the screen?
Yeah.
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 That's nice and calming, isn't it?
Yeah. And the app works relatively well. It doesn't know where the car is.
What about the menacing noise when you turn it off? There's like this little sinister jingle that it plays.
Oh.
Or is it not that?
It does make a noise when it turns off. I managed to work out how to turn the woman off that tells you when the car's... Oh, that's another thing. I think the there's a warning to tell you, oh, your car's low, would you like to charge it? But it gets to it, it only tells you when it's at a quarter.
You learned how to turn a woman off. I know you've never turned one on, but I didn't know you could turn one off.
Brilliant.
Come on.
Yeah, I think on the smaller battery, the quarter level of the battery is a reasonable amount of range to say, oh, heads up, you've got not much range left. But they haven't calibrated it for the larger one, and that's about 70 miles, I think. Right. 70 miles is quite a long way. So
it's weird, isn't it? Because some of those software things just feel like no one's tested it.
No. But yeah, I'll be a bit sad when it goes back. I've quite enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah.
I've done 4,000 miles, I think, in it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 4,000. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. But yeah, on the same day that goes back on Wednesday, I've got the ZR-V from Honda, the hybrid.
Yeah.
Be quite nice. I think the week after that, I got the Suzuki Swift.
Yeah.
Manual one. And then in February, I'm taking my girlfriend to see James Blunt on Valentine's Day in Glasgow.
You didn't think of taking to see someone good on Valentine's Day? No.
Everyone else was sold out.
I do find him hilarious, though. His Twitter's absolutely golden.
It is, isn't it?
But I'm not a fan of his music.
She's obsessed with James Blunt, and I quite like him. So.
Okay.
But we're taking the Ioniq 6 to Glasgow for that.
Nice.
So be quite a big test of that car.
Yeah. Glasgow?
Yep.
You haven't been to New York, have you?
No.
Well, in New York, everywhere you look in Manhattan, in any direction, you can see a Starbucks wherever you are. In Glasgow, it's this bad boy. It's Greg's. They are absolutely everywhere.
I do love a Greg's. It's good.
There's even They've even got a couple of those like Greg's cafes.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's quite good.
yeah.
Pretty
There you go. Now I've got your attention.
You have, yeah. But
Up
mention of
near
Greg's.
the like theatre area, I think there's a Greg's cafe, or there used to be.
Noted.
There's also a bar called the Pot Still, which has got about 1,000 whiskies in it, and it's pretty much impossible to go in there and not come out drunk, because if you just go in for one, they'll give you about 12 tasters, and then they give you a dram, which is a lot bigger than you expect. And the good whiskey seems to either taste of grass and earth or TCP. Yeah.
And
There
then
you go. We could do a whiskey review channel, couldn't we?
I think we like whiskey.
This tastes of grass. This tastes of TCP.
Yeah. And then after the Onyx 6, I think sometime in February, I got the Enyaq VRS. I'm hoping it's in that yellow, like...
You've got an Enyaq?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you
Not
know...
the new one, though.
I don't know if I've ever had a response from anyone at Skoda.
Oh.
Ever.
I won't be the new one, because there's a new one out, which we didn't mention this episode.
Yeah.
I think it'll be the older one, because that's not on sale yet. But I'm hoping it's in the high-vis yellow, because that looks quite cool. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
And that's it, I think. What about you?
I haven't got anything booked in for next month because
Shocking.
I'm going away with the family and no one else seems to be responding to me on anything. So, yeah.
Okay.
To be honest, I usually book about 2 or 3 months in advance.
That's what I've been doing.
And because I was so busy at the tail end of last year, I just haven't done that at all. And I probably need to get my finger out a bit. But some of the PRs are pretty rubbish at getting back to you.
Yeah, I think I'm booked up until March now.
Yeah, which is about right,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's how you want to be, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks in advance.
Yeah, with some gaps. Because I was making the mistake of having them back to back, and my brain was fried after
It's quite tough, isn't it?
It's difficult.
Yeah, because I've got that this week. I've got the MG HS and then the Cybertruck, I was going to say. And I've had 3 back to back before, and that's not great. I don't think you do your finest work, really.
No, it's very... Yeah, it gets a bit much, especially as YouTube isn't my full-time thing like it is for you. I just run out of time.
Yeah.
And get stressed. So I like to leave a few days in between, which is good. So that's pretty much it for this episode.
Cool.
Thanks for a good one.
Listening or watching, everyone. Yeah. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, like, review, all that kind of good stuff. It's all massively appreciated. And I guess we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.